We're going to give it another minute. We're waiting on Councilor Frausto. She should be here any minute. And I know we've got a few folks still coming in, so we could wait another few minutes. Thank you, guys.
First, like 3 meetings, it took us some adjustment to get used to it, but now we're over it.
Sure, I can see.
Okay. Okay, let's stay at the same place, same spot. Okay.
No, she, I guess she had, it felt like it.
It's nice, caught something bad.
That's too funny.
You just gave it on your Yes.
We're in February, that's insane.
Joey's,
Yeah, 19th, yeah.
Hey, are you coming to this
snowing
meeting?
by the weekend? We should have temperatures in the 50s. So,
Okay. Yeah, but people are still walking in, so you're good. You're good. Okay. Okay. Sounds all right. Sounds good. All right. Bye. Yeah. All right. Vicky is on her. She's in the door. Welcome.
The layout.
It's all good. It's all. Yeah. You.
Hi, Vicky. Good. How you doing?
You're
Good
good.
to see you. Yeah, welcome. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
being here.
You bet.
I need to go get a little thing. And your guys sitting.
Welcome, everybody. We're going to get started in just a minute. Thanks for coming. Okay, what do you say we get started? Well, thank you, everybody. Mike Gonzalez, City Manager. Thanks so much for coming to this forum concerning animal control. And we all know it's a huge issue. And we certainly want to come up with solutions. And I think tonight is really the opportunity at the first step of the conversation. I don't expect to solve the problem tonight, obviously, but this is something that in particular, Councilor Frausto has really been adamant to really push me to get this meeting going and reach out to stakeholders, because I know stakeholders have been reaching out to her and also the other counselors. But honestly, I appreciate her pushing me to do this because I think it's necessary, and it's something the community is asking us for, and I believe she's loves her dog very much. So I mean, I know she's really entrenched with yeah, dog. I know we have a lot of dog lovers on our council, as I do love my dog Cody. He's a feisty Cocker Spaniel, and I tell you what, you get him mad, but he's a double-edged sword. But love Cody. But on a serious note, thank you everybody for coming. What I would like to do is, if people are comfortable with it, I like to get to know our community and who's here. Would everybody mind just kind of introducing themselves and their reason for being here and where they're from, and just so, and I'm not asking you to come up to the microphone, but yeah, if we can start with the front row and just kind of work our way back. And then, introduce yourself, tell us why you're here, your passion, and where you're from. Yeah, if you guys don't mind introducing yourselves at the microphone, because then, we'll have it on record, and we'll be able to hopefully find you for the next meeting, right?
So, hello, my name is Marisela Santana. I'm a Sunnyside resident, and I'm here personally, but also I have part of an advocate team, and one of their environmental priorities is dog and cat resources here in the Lower Yakima Valley. So I'm here as part of that representation as well.
Awesome. Thanks, Maricela. Appreciate that. And that's great context too. If you can let us know the organization you're with, if you are with one, if you're just an individual, that's awesome too. So would anybody else be willing to come forward, introduce themselves, and let us know why you're here and where you're from? And you don't have to.
My name's Deb Nelson. I'm from SELA, but I'm clinic coordinator at the nonprofit. We're Valley Spay and Neuter. We're a high volume spay and neuter clinic that's over in Hera. Basically, we're here just to help to see what we can do to help with the overpopulation with funding, or what we can do to sort of work with local communities to help with overpopulation and that kind of stuff. So
Deb, how can people get a hold of you? Your website?
We are you can go on YVPR. We are associated with Yakima Valley Rescue, so yvpr.org, or if you'd like, I'm more than welcome to give my number.
Awesome.
But yeah,
go ahead if you want to give your number, because
my phone number is 530-640-2198. So if you want to reach out, we're starting to do approximately 4 clinics, 2 clinics, 4 days a piece. We bring in an outside source veterinarian we do approximately 60 animals a day. So,
wow.
And our goal is to do approximately 500 per month. So, and we've been doing it for 9 months, and we're really proud of what we've achieved. So
2 of mine were done this month.
yeah.
Oh, great.
And our goal is just because we are high quantity, our quality is, we're trying to keep our quality as high, and we do run a lot on volunteers. And so we're just trying to get the community involved and really advocate for the animals and spay and neuter and overproduction.
We need it.
Number one more time.
530-640-2198.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's the one.
Okay, and that's it.
Great. The counselors, any questions for Deb? Good.
No question.
Okay, great. And real quickly, why don't we give introductions up on the dais? And Commissioner, why don't we start with you, and we'll work our way across.
Sure. Right. LaDon Lindy, Yakima County Commissioner.
Yes, I'm Karen Vasquez, City Council member here in Sunnyside.
Vicky Ripley, City Council member, Sunnyside.
Vicky Frausto, council member here in Sunnyside.
And Mike Gonzalez, City Manager.
Johnny Gusby, Commander, Sunnyside Police Department.
Derek Broughton, Community Economic Development Director, and we're the ones taking over animal control. So
And we have
I
Debbie.
need your help.
Debbie, go ahead and introduce yourself too, because I know you engage with the public a ton.
I'm Debbie Espinoza, the permit coordinator for Sunnyside.
Okay, awesome. Thank you guys. Just to get to know the folks up here. So any other community stakeholders or individuals that want to introduce themselves? Because that was great what Deb shared. So if you have anything that you can share with us that can help the community, obviously.
Hi, guys. My name is Dwayne Rundgren, RUNDGREN, and I'm representing No Nuts Club out of SELA.
I'll try not to laugh at that.
Quick disclaimer, my wife came up with that name all on her own. Anyway, we've been in rescue for quite a while. We used to be with YVPR, and then we started our own 501c3. We primarily deal strictly with strays. And as you all know, the reason that we're here is because of that. We work very closely with other representatives of the community. And throughout the whole Lower Valley, Upper Valley, we work as diligent as we can with the ACOs. We work with the sheriffs, Sela City. We've had Union Gap contact us. We are a primary parvo rescue. So we take in the parvo pups and things like that so that we can keep the non-parvo properties parvo free, because that's huge in the valley, Upper Valley and Lower Valley, all over. And so the only types of puppies we bring in are parvo. And so we try and do our part in that aspect. One of the biggest things that we see across the board, not just with Sunnyside, but with Sela, Union Gap, and all the other smaller municipalities, is there's no place for the ACOs to put the animals. So, for example, with Sela, that ACO, he'll reach out to me he'll reach out to us as quickly as he can. He has a very small kennel inside an old warehouse, and that's the best that Sela can give him at the moment. And our thoughts are, how can we get all the smaller municipalities working together to create a joint venture, basically, through the county and the other smaller municipalities, so that they're not looking at a $15,000 bill from, say, the Humane Society, and then a per dog charge, which nobody can afford. I know Sunnyside can't, Sela can't, Union Gap can't. I mean, it's insane, the costs involved in it. So we're just here trying to, anything that we can give as far as information, help, support, anything like that, that's what we're here for.
All right. Thanks, Dwayne. I'm afraid to ask what the website address is, but do you guys,
we don't
how can we reach you? Is there only a phone number?
You can always get a hold of us through No Nuts Club on Facebook.
Okay.
We don't actually have a website set up. My wife will shoot me, don't call during school hours. 509-823-8977. That's her number. If you want mine, like help trapping a dog or transporting or anything like that, it's 509-833-1227.
All right. Thanks, Dwayne. Appreciate it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, and we do have a public comment section, but I'd like this to serve as our public comment section, since we're already rolling. So if anybody, regardless if you're a stakeholder in the dog or pet space, but would love to hear from the public now. So let's let this stand as public comment. Hi.
Ruby Medina. You guys know me very well. Well, at least a few. First of all, I want to say thank you. Thank you very much for bringing this, to the community level, bringing this and hearing us. This is definitely something, like you said, Mike, in regards to, this is not going to be a solution that's going to happen tonight, but it's definitely, a path going forward for what we need as a community, county-wise as well, as to how we're going to work together in remedying this whole issue with, animals being abused, neglected, holding animal owners accountable, RCWs that are already in place, city code ordinances. We need all of that to come together and, be enforced, and not just practice, in this section or in that section, or, applying this to this family and then not applying it to this family. It's got to be applied to everybody. Anybody who owns an animal has to be held accountable to the city ordinances, the RCWs, the law. Like we say, nobody's above it. We got to protect our animals. And that's why I'm here. And I'm so thankful for the partners that I have. I couldn't do animal rescuing without them. I've got a very, very strong village. Just in this last year alone, rescuing dogs just from Sunnyside, not the county, it's 250 dogs. This is not something that I want to do. This is not something that is, like I said, I want to do. I want to be able to fight on a law, city, level that we bring change and awareness. We can't sustain this. There's so many rescues that are able and willing to help, but they're also maxed out in resources. When I ask them for help and I'm trapping or picking up a dog, fostering, these dogs have issues. There's a lot of medical issues, behavioral issues, and they use a lot of their own funding to be able to help these dogs. Just like Dwayne was saying with Parvo, it's not, it's a very costly and expensive, medications that they have to have, not to mention the time that they give to help these animals survive. And the very simple thing for them to avoid all of this are vaccines. I'd like to be able to see spay and neuters. I'd like to be able to see, additional law written, classification of how we charge, animal control or animal cruelty, neglect in a different way that it's not flooding the court systems. But again, I'm here, want to be able to share the ideas, things that have been working for us already. And let's just get our communities cleaned up. These animals need us. We're their village, and whatever we can do.
And Ruby, yeah, thanks for all you do. Really appreciate it. I mean, I know we've been in contact quite a bit, and you're out there on the ground. Is there a way that people can get a hold of you, or that you share that for the public, like a Facebook page or anything?
They can contact me through Messenger, but a lot of people already have my phone.
Okay.
I try to hide it.
All right.
But-
So it's out there. Okay. Nope. And can you give the name of your organization?
So I don't have a nonprofit. I'm just an independent
Okay.
rescuer, but I have over 22 rescue partners. So.
Okay, perfect. And just for my knowledge, is there like one homepage for all the different rescues in the valley, or not really?
No, we don't have that yet. I mean, we could start working on something like that, but yeah.
Okay. Counselors, any questions for Ruby?
Thank you.
Found animals in Sunnyside is one site that a lot of people go to.
Lost and found.
Found animals.
Okay. That's good to know.
They just put Ruby's name out there, and Ruby.
All the
Ruby.
I'm so glad you said that. So what I would like to also see happen, one of the biggest things when we had an animal control officer who was very effective, when he was here, Tyler had the heart of the community. Tyler went over and beyond. And I spoke to him, and I've been in contact with him. He's living in Las Vegas. He's running a security program over there in Las Vegas, but he's homesick and he wants to come home, and animals are his passion. He knew I would call him when he had left his position, and I said, "Hey, Tyler, I've got this German Shepherd." And he's like, "Send me a picture." "Oh yeah, they live on Rouse Road. Go to that house." And it's like, "Oh, thank you." He was very resourceful, but very connected to the community as well. And so I'd like to be able to see an effective ACO to come in, not just to be able to do their job, but to be able to also connect with the community, because they're the ones that are going to be helping us. So thank you. And thank you, LaDon, for also meeting with me. So I appreciate it.
Of course.
Right.
You're welcome. Thanks.
Hi, I'm Chrissy with Hope for Huskies. I'm a 501c3. I am actually based out of the Tri-Cities, but I'm going to be honest, my focus is usually always here in Yakima County. At least 95% of my rescues of Huskies, Malamutes is coming from this county, and it's getting really overwhelming. First, I do want to thank you, LaDon, for the pipe puppies. We had the pipe puppies. I'm the one that rescued, along with the boots on the ground, Ruby and others. And thank you for covering that hole so no other dogs will be lost, and hopefully that will never happen again. We currently just had another 9 Malamutes dumped today that I am now dealing with in Yakima County with no help. So we do need laws, RCWs, fines. We need things changed in this area. I can't sustain this. I'm only one person, and I'm one of 2 Husky Malamute rescues for the Pacific Northwest. We cannot keep up. We don't need them shot out in the county. That happens a lot. We don't need them dying out there, starving out there. We don't need them falling into holes. We need help. I need help. And I really wish the community would step up and help more. Like Ruby was saying, bring more more laws in, fines, bring more code enforcement in. If you have to, bring in volunteers to do the footwork for you. Can they go door to door and say, hey, you got too many dogs, or hey, are they spayed and neutered? You know, you can put those things in place. You can make like breeding against the law. Or, you know, some regulations there, you know, where you can only have so many, or you have to be licensed, like with a UBI number or something. There's all kinds of things that can be done and that should be done, and fined for it if they break the law. Make it a hefty fine, make it hurt. You know, they may keep doing it, but eventually maybe it'll get through to them, you know, take their license away. We do it with, I don't know if they still do it, but like people that pay child support, they got their license taken away. You know, there's got to be a way to take care of this and to try to get it under control. Spay and neuter is big. Yakima Valley Pet Rescue, they are awesome. I deal with POP in Tri-Cities. That's a clinic that does low-cost spay and neuter. If we could get more clinics, that would be great. They're already low cost, but if maybe there's a way to get another program in, and once a month, do it for free. You know, try to get as many as you can in for free. Get it done. Vaccines are big. We need vaccines. That could save lives. They're fairly cheap, to be honest. And if there's a way we could get that out to the community and have somebody go door to door, get vaccines, anything to help. But it needs to get done, you guys. Yakima County's big, and it's getting very well known in the Pacific Northwest for dumping grounds. And I don't think we want that stigma on, you know, there. We need to take care of the dogs, especially Huskies, Malamutes, Shepherds, Pit Bulls, Chihuahuas. Those are your top ones. We need to get it under control, you guys. There's too many, and I can't keep up. I can't keep up. And it's 95% at least I'm taking care of. I can't help other ones. I'm saying no constantly because I'm taking care of this county. So please.
Quick question for you, Chrissy. What is for the average set of vaccines, what kind of cost are we talking about?
So one vaccine, I think you could get like one parvo distemper probably for about $15 if you need to. But I think if people reached out to rescues, I think we could try to even do it cheaper for them. So that's a big thing. If they would just, you know, pick up the phone, message a rescue, say, hey, I'm really struggling. Can I donate $5 to you and get a vaccine? I'm sure a rescue would do it. Okay. Because it's just going to save in the long run.
Yeah. How about cost for spay and neutering? What does that run generally?
Low cost, anywhere $100 and up. Okay. Sometimes you might be able to get a little bit cheaper, but I know as rescues, I'm paying a little over 100, I believe, but it depends on weight and what else you tag on to it, like a microchip or a vaccine.
Sure.
So I would say on an average, probably about 150 to 200 per dog. And that's coming out of my donations. And if I don't have donations, I'm going to be honest, me and my husband, we flip the bill. We'd pay out of our own pocket.
All right. Thank you, Chrissy.
Any other questions?
Chrissy, you mentioned that Yakima County in particular, they dump a lot of dogs. Is there a difference that you see in Tri-Cities? You said you live in Tri-Cities, and the laws there that are more stringent. Can you explain some of the differences?
I think it has to do with animal control and the community itself. I see big difference with animal control, how they work. They're very on top of things, but I also see the community is they're kind of mean and vicious, and they just kind of go after people. And they don't stand for things happening, and they're really getting involved in the animal world and trying to help all the dogs. So that's what I think I kind of see different. I really do. I think I see that community kind of rising a little bit. And then animal control, I think we have 4, if I remember right, animal control officers. So I think that helped. And then your code enforcement on top of that.
Okay, thanks.
Question.
Sure.
How how much of the dumping is happening? Because we have our county commissioner here. How much of it is happening within county lines versus how much of it is it happening within city limits? And I'm not saying one of them is happening more than the other, but it's going to help us try to figure out what we can do within city limits and then how we can work with our county commissioners to try to maybe enforce this or maybe even change some of these laws. I hear about the shooting that happens and that has to stop.
Yeah.
I can't believe it's even been a form of remedy.
Yes.
And so we have a county commissioner here and to try to see how we can work together in that sense. And maybe if we have existing laws that are just not working, the shooting isn't working, but we need to attack other places, especially within city limits. It's going to help us kind of start working towards that strategy, right?
So I know like for Huskies, Ruby deals with a lot of other breeds, but for Huskies itself, I could actually say the county is my worst area than city limits. That is usually where I'm getting my Huskies and Malamutes is they're dumped in the county. As for shootings and stuff, I'm going to be honest. I'm just an honest person. We have either just your average farmer or community member doing it up to the sheriff shooting. And I think that needs to stop. I really do, because we all eat chicken. I'm sorry, you guys. I'm just going to be blunt. We all eat chicken. If a dog goes after a chicken, it's a chicken. It's in their food. We eat chicken, Can we change that law? I mean, seriously, it's a ridiculous law. I think there's things that we do need to do, little things, and that's one of them, to help not deem a dog dangerous because they killed a chicken. That costs $25 to replace. If the person says, hey, I'll give you a chicken, give them a chicken, but I see it in the county. That's where I get the big.
So, and to answer that question, council member, it's kind of hard because what I'm seeing is that a lot of the people who dump dogs, either they're dumping them in the city and the dogs are going towards the county. The dogs that are being dumped in the county are coming towards the city. So it's a problem for both. And it's kind of hard to distinguish as to where these dogs are coming from. But it's very, very, it's happening constantly. I'm getting calls. I think I've gotten calls maybe 10, 15 a day. This dog is dumped over here. This dog is dumped over here. And it's all throughout Yakima County, Sunnyside City, Grandview. It's horrible. These poor dogs are out there. They're severely emaciated. We've gotten dogs
sick or pregnant and going to deliver anytime soon.
I think, and I've shared this in a post, but I saved or rescued a Chihuahua that was dumped between Grandview and the county line. And she had newborn babies, but they froze to death. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. We've seen it. It's been pretty bad. Yakima County alone, and the Yakima County Sheriff's Department has posted it on their website, and it happened here in Sunnyside and Grandview, where dogs were being brutally killed. Posados right now, in conjunction and collaboration with PETA, has a $10,000 reward. That person or persons have not been caught, but this is what we're known for, and it's very, very sad. Animals are being abused. Animals are being killed. Animals are at the mercy of humans, and this is what's happening. Yeah.
And I've had to say no to Ruby. I'm going to let you guys know probably daily because I don't have this. I don't have a foster. I don't have an adopter because I'm foster based. I don't have like a kennel. So I literally have to have people stepping up to say, I will take that dog for you.
Yeah.
And I have to tell her no.
And then I tell her no back.
It's an ongoing battle.
Also, too, I wanted to let you guys know, Benton Franklin Humane Society, I have to give such huge kudos to them. Perla's online as well, and she has taken numerous dogs from Yakima County and within the cities. Even the previous ACO, which the ACO never mentioned, which was very frustrating, she actually surrendered dogs to the Benton Franklin Humane Society and drove them to Kennewick. And they were happy to help us, and they still are. They would like to be able to help us and take dogs for us. They're not limited to what they can take. I love their facilities. I've been there. It's very clean. They have dog behavioralist, they have a dog park, and they work really hard in matching dogs to appropriate families for adoptions and to see the success of these dogs and stuff. So I can get you City Manager Mike, the phone numbers for Perla as well.
Sure.
Okay.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
And on that note, that would be awesome if somehow, some way this community could get their own facility. I mean, somehow
Yeah.
dig deep in the pockets. And even if it's housing 20, that's 20 dogs off the streets, and it gives time for a rescue to come in and
Absolutely.
transfer it out to a rescue or get them adopted out so you could get some more in. That would be great if you guys could dig deep and try to rally and get all that.
And that's basically what I've been doing. So, trapping, picking up a dog, fostering. I've got people, very, very good people who help me with fostering as well. And they hold the dogs, and I just network and network and network until the dog can be surrendered to a rescue.
Yes.
Yep. So.
Ladies, what kennels are available in Yakima County?
I like the way the city of Prosser is set up. They actually have a small facility. They have some kennels already set up. My understanding is that Sunnyside have also utilized those kennels. But it's a holding station, and they hold them up to 3 days. And they contact, that ACO at that time would contact other rescues who would help out. And just like Dwayne had said, there was no cost to the city. And so I think that's a huge incentive as well for us to be able to have that. And they go to rescues. And a lot of these rescues are foster based. They have a lot of resources to help these dogs with rehabilitation and getting them to be successfully, adopted.
Where's the Prosser kennels at?
It's in the city. I know that. It's not it's not located in the PD. It's certain location that they have.
I'd like to tour through it and see how they did it, how they do it.
Absolutely. If you reach out to the city manager or even the chief of police, they'd be happy to do that. And I think Councilmember Vicky, you met with Pablo, the ACO, when he was there, and he did an amazing job as well.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, he did. He gave us a lot of hope. He said, I know that this issue is we're able to rid of it. It's just going to take a lot of intentionality, which, I recognize that in Sunnyside, I'll speak from this community, we haven't been very intentional. And with that, I'd like to ask, because, I've been here in council for about a year now, but y'all have been doing this much longer. And so you mentioned Tyler. Could you maybe could you share how maybe during that time, or maybe if there was a point of time where things were maybe working a little bit and y'all saw maybe this problem lessen, or and I'd like to figure out what was happening then that we were doing right that maybe we lost along the way.
That's an interesting question. I mean, and I'm definitely going to lean to a lot of my rescue partners and other independent rescuers. I'm going into 4 years doing this. In the 4 years, I have fostered over 1,500 dogs in my house. I rescued over 3,000. And, I don't know when it was ever better, but I can tell you it's gotten worse.
Okay.
It is just out of control. If you go on Craigslist, there's people that are selling dogs left and right. There was a guy that posted on Craigslist here in Sunnyside, and he had Chihuahuas, and he said he needed help. So I reached out to him and I said, I can help you. I said, we can do the last litter program. So it's basically being able to take the puppies and then get the mom spayed. So when I asked him that, he's like, heck no, I'm not going to do that. And he spoke to me in Spanish, and he said, no. He said, what for? He said, I'm going to have that mom work for me, and she's going to have babies, and we're going to sell them.
Oh my God.
So that's the mentality that we're dealing with on a daily. Yes. Yes. And that's not fair. That's not fair to the rescues. That's not fair to the community. It's not fair to the county. It's not fair to the animals. And one of the things too, that when LaDon and I were talking about was the reclassification of charging, the animal cruelty. Because I know that the court systems is flooded as well. And one of the things that we can do is reclassify, you know, make the tickets into an infraction. Send it just like a ticket. And if they don't pay, well, guess what? There's consequences. It's the suspension of their license. I mean, there's consequences that's going to follow them until they get that ticket paid. But at least, you know, you hit them in the pockets. That's going to get their attention. So, thank you.
I think it was COVID that that really hit hard, because then you couldn't get your animals spayed. Well, you couldn't even take them into the vet.
Yeah.
And it was 2 years of that. And it just went downhill from there, and we haven't been able to recoup, you know.
Well, and then the other thing to consider as well, you know, the vets, our vets and the cost of, you know,
Yes.
receiving animal care is astronomical.
Like everything else.
Exactly. But these people, you know, when we see other dogs too that are done, they have a lot of medical issues as well, and they're not being tended to.
Right.
And it's very hard, but that doesn't give us an excuse to be able to dump animals.
Right.
You know, and so that's the other thing too, being responsible. If you're going to have an animal, you've got to see them through. And so, yeah, it's tough and it's hard.
And I think if people would actually take the time to get on Facebook or wherever and try to find help, that would help. Instead of using, you know, say COVID, not that I'm saying it's an excuse. I mean, it happened, right? But instead of using those excuses, which we've heard every excuse you could think of, you know, they could actually find help. I'm sure somebody would step up. I personally will spay and neuter somebody that owns a dog. If they get a hold of me, I don't blast it on Facebook. I just do it. Take some donations, say, here you go. Here's your appointment. Go there. I will flip the bill.
Yeah.
You know, just so you keep your dog.
Yeah.
Please keep your dog. I have a place for it, you know. But if more people would do that, maybe more of us would step up and help them.
Yeah.
There's a village out there that'll help.
Absolutely. And that's the other thing too, with rescues that I also lean to for help and support. If I need something, you know, because I'll beg and plead these people, if you know, the finders is what we call them. And so they don't have a place, or they don't have fencing, or they don't have food. And it's like, I can get you a crate. I can get you, you know, the supplies that you need. Just hold the dog, and ongoing communication, networking. And it does take a village to be able to do that. You know, going back to Councilmember Frausto's question in regards to Tyler. One of the things that I really enjoyed about Tyler is that, you know, he was really connected to the community. A lot of the community members went to him for help and support. A lot of the community members also reported a lot of animal abuse and neglect. And he fought so hard to make sure that people's voices were heard. He also fought to make sure that the law was enforced. He knew his job, and he knew it very, very well. And the people respected that. So that makes a huge difference as well.
And on that note about officers, I do encourage you guys, please contact Tri-Cities Animal Shelter Officer Jackson. She is the supervisor. She's a wealth of knowledge. Seriously, a wealth of knowledge. If you guys have any questions, like how can we do better? You know what? I bet you she would guide you. She would guide you in the right direction. She is an awesome lady, and she does a good job.
Can you repeat that, please?
Officer Jackson,
And she's with
Tri-City Animal Services now. They changed the name.
because they just opened that new
Yes,
facility and
yeah, so it's not
okay,
Tri-City Animal Shelter, but it's Tri-City Animal Services now
okay.
through City of Pasco.
Is there anybody from the veterinarian community here? I know, I really wanted to hear from the group, because I know Councilor Frausto and I have talked, and you know, in certain senses, I think they felt like the city, haven't really reached out to them effectively and brought them to the table. So that I wanted to put that out there. That's one of the reasons we did this meeting, is hoping that the vet community would come and kind of engage with us and let us know from their perspective how they can help, and you know, where we need to step up our game on this side of the table. So anyhow, I invite. I'm assuming that you're from okay. Well, okay. Can we get you? Go ahead. Go ahead. Forgive me.
Sorry, I was just going to say, Kyle Curtis, commissioner that's been working on this. I've been part of those meetings, and we went on a field trip to the vet and county shelter. So he has been in touch with those people. I'm assuming that he had their contact information.
Okay.
In touch with them.
Okay, perfect. And I'll reach out to, perfect. Okay, go ahead. Forgive me for that.
My name is Michelle Yelovich. I live in the county, in Outlook. And just to give you an idea how bad the problem is, I picked up a dog on my way here that was on the side of the road. I have 7 at home and I have nowhere to put this dog. So the problem is out of control. And I think there needs to be a breeding ban in Yakima County to stop some of this from happening, because it's not going to stop. And like, they were saying, is this like people want it for the money. They just want to breed them and get the money. And if they don't get the money, they dump them. So a lot of things need to change. And I don't know what else to do because I can't take any more in. And where I live, they get dumped all the time. And I call Ruby and she can't help me. And I have 7 dogs because of it, and 7 cats. And I have a cat in my bathroom now that I trapped that someone dumped. So, and it's on a list to get spayed. But the problem is it's horrible. And I see him getting killed in front of my house all the time because I can't get to him fast enough. So.
Are there any other counties that compare with us across Washington State in terms of like the volume of strays? And are we kind of number one in that, would you
I used
say?
to live in Pierce County, and it was never like this. It was.
Is there trackability to that? You know, how do we measure the numbers to know, like Dwayne, go ahead.
So like they said, we all kind of work together. Today, I ran transport for YVPR. And I took over, I don't even know. Let's say a dozen dogs and a dozen cats over to 3 different programs over on the west side. Ruby didn't mention, but her dogs go west and east. So she is the primary coordinator for anything going east over Spokane and in that area. So basically, our goal as local rescues is to get them out. When we, as a personal rescue, when we list our dogs, we list them every 100 miles because that's the way Pet Finder's set up. And ideally, the most people that reach out to us are driving from Portland, they're driving from BC, Canada, they're driving from, the west side, they're driving from 3 hours up from middle of Oregon. They're traveling to get these dogs, and we're setting up transports to meet them at places. But our biggest goal as a rescue group in whole, with any rescue you talk to, is get the dogs, get them healthy, get them adoptable, and then get them out to these other rescues outside of the valley, because we have so many in the valley. And the Humane Society, I know we haven't talked much about the Humane Society. I've walked in there where they've had crates set up everywhere in that facility, in all the offices and everything. And they're busting at the seams, begging other rescues to take this dog or that dog. We've personally taken at least 4 dogs from the Humane Society within the last year that have been there for over a year. Over 365 days they have in a kennel.
And they have a full-time person that is per job, and she does an amazing job that she calls outside people to get them out.
So there, Humane Society is part of this group. I know they might not have anybody representing them, but our goal is to get them out of the county.
I second.
Thanks.
My dogs go everywhere.
And go far away from here.
They're far away, yeah.
Okay, thanks for that, Dwayne. Appreciate it. Go ahead.
Hi, my name is Megan Maltos. I own the Spot Dog Daycare and Boarding here in Sunnyside. I rescued for about 7 years with a handful of these people. Since my business started right after COVID, unfortunately, I got out of rescue. But like they're saying, pick up dogs. I get them far away from this county. But I'm also here to talk about the cat situation because nobody's mentioned the cat situation. I personally have trapped over at the nursing home This place here across the street where there's all the semis, I'm not even sure what that place is. I've trapped cats over there and got them spayed and neutered. Unfortunately, they weren't like the friendliest of cats, so I have to put them back there once I, out of my own pocket, get them spayed and neutered. They have to go back and live here, possibly get hit by a car or who knows what, but there's nowhere to take these feral cats, and nobody's going to pay money out of their own pocket to go to the vet, because I mean, I do it. I spend about $200 every time I take a feral cat to the Sunnyside Pet Health Clinic, and they're great, but I don't expect them to give me handouts or anything for free. But again, I live out in the county between Sunnyside and Outlook here, and I get probably a dozen cats a year dumped off at my place, and out of my own pocket, I get them fixed. I have to get them tested for all their feline diseases to make sure that they're not going to infect the cats that I keep. But I have like 7 feral cats at my house that I've had to keep, because where do you take feral cats? There's nowhere to take them. There's nowhere to take wild cats. I go to the Humane Society and take their feral cats, because nobody's going to go adopt feral cats from the Humane Society. Luckily, they give them to me at no charge, but I go get them for the fact that they're either going to get put to sleep or live in a kennel their entire life. So I take them to my farm. But I know there's multiple colonies. There's one at Walmart that I've worked on. I think a few of these people also have worked at the Walmart cats. There's just cats roaming all over this town, and I'm sorry, nobody's going to pay out of their own pocket. They're not paying for their pets to get fixed. They're not going to pay for feral cats to get fixed. So some sort of program for people to trap ferals. Unfortunately, they do have to go back to where they came from, because they don't know anywhere else to live other than that area. But if they were fixed, that would at least eliminate more kittens, diseases, and other things that come around with these colonies. If you go to these colonies, most of them are terribly sick. I've had to take a few and get them meds and get them fixed up before I re-release them, because I can't keep every cat I catch. I used to do dog rescue for years, but it kind of got overwhelming, because you would get stuck fostering these dogs for 6, 7, 8 months. And then by then, they're kind of your pet. And so I personally have 5 dogs that 3 of them were dumped off on my road. So it's a problem, and not everybody's going to keep every dog that's dumped on their road or fix every cat that's dumped on their road. There's a few handful of us that will do that. And it shouldn't be up to community members to fix other people's stray animals.
In regards to like the spay and neuter program, we do have those, and I know like there's literally, it's the Humane Society, which I used to work with as an assistant there, and then there's Valley Spay and Neuter. Like we're the 2 high volumes, and we bring in outside sources. We do we're trying to like literally like we do feral days. And we have trappers that we work with, and they bring in like you did it like what weekend half ago. On the 11th, they brought in, they make a point for 20 animals, and they're like experts. Like they got a whole thing.
I mean, even if we had somebody here, and I know that would be tough, but somebody like animal control that could set these traps, because I know people work. Like they're not going to take their whole day off to go take 20 cats, and especially if they're not their cats. So if there was some sort of program where people could trap at no expense to them, because again, these usually come out of our pockets, and trap these cats and get them spayed and neutered at these clinics that offer either free or super reduced price. But I don't know, just something that needs to be done, because I don't go to these colonies and trap anymore. I used to, but it became overwhelming, because $200 a cat, I mean, that's wild. I did get into a few programs, the spay and neuter clinic in Yakima. Do they even do that anymore?
They do, but it's seasonal because of the way they run it. It's they don't want it. You have to keep these animals in a certain amount because of the weather and stuff like that.
Because I did take a few when they used to do the clinic there, but since then I've just
the groups that we work with, like they're like experts, and they have like holding facilities. And
yeah,
like, it's a whole thing.
But again, there's probably individuals, right, that are doing it on their own.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And like
See,
there's one.
it's always individuals.
One of Kim's friends, like she spends thousands,
So I used to work with like Ellen from the spay and neuter clinic, and
but we do have programs, and they are paid for. Like we have whole grants, and we have people from outside Yakima that want to give us these grants that we want to take care of.
I mean, I know of rescues that have come over from the west side and done like huge hoarding cases and taken like 30 cats from a house and taken them over back to the west side.
We have the funds. It's a question of finding veterinary staff. Like we can only, I mean, like we're like, it's a 15-hour day for me. When I get there, it's 5:30, and then I leave at 8:30 straight, but I'm exhausted. But there are, and we have veterinary staff that comes from over, because like if you want to do that kind of they're experts, like they literally, they're workhorses. The
a
veterinarians
master.
that are like,
Yeah.
that come in and do this, like, they are amazing. And there's not.
And I guess it's a matter of
it's not-
finding the people that are willing to do that
Right,
and take
they
them,
have to be
which is
paid,
a problem.
obviously, but,
Yeah.
it's also finding, they're on the, over in, Seattle or West Side. I mean, they can only come over and it's finding the staff.
Yeah.
We're run on volunteers, it's finding LVTs that, you need certified techs, you need assistants, you need the staff, and, it's a whole thing.
Yeah.
And I mean, obviously, we're trying to do this we can, and I think we're very.
And I know
like,
you
what
guys are,
we've
yeah, I
done.
used to volunteer with YVPR for
Right,
years
so,
and I know they
but
do it.
that's-
I guess it's just a matter of our community here, around here, willing to.
Forgive me, ladies. I'm gonna have you get. Did you want to wrap up your comments? And forgive me for cutting you out. I know we've got a few other comments, and I'm gonna wrap up the public comment period. Why don't we do this one and anyone else that wants to say anything? But no, there's some really good stuff that we've got coming out of here, so really appreciate it.
Hi, I'm Angel Gorley, Gourley, Above the Bend Animal Assistance. We are a non-501c3 at this time, but we are a community-based organization, very small. We are based on Chinook Pass. So, and just supporting what has been just said, I just put in, I get up at 4 o'clock in the morning. I drive clear down to Benton City, but I am also coming from Chinook Pass to Sunnyside, to Zilla, to Grandview, because there's not enough help. I just did a 15-hour day taking over 25 cats to prevent homeless pets in Benton City, volunteering in surgery all day, getting back up on that pass 10 o'clock at night, caring for the dogs and cats that are coming from these areas because we're so dedicated to helping. And then going to Cowiche this morning, returning those animals, caring for them, getting on the road and coming back down here to Sunnyside. So this is a funnel. We're working with a problem and solution effect in this funnel. So I'm on Chinook Pass. So we're talking the big part of the funnel is down here, little up there, population growth, but there's not enough help. There's not enough facilities. There is so much in the solution aspect that can be approached. You have several people here that, and this is only a small portion, there can be a forum put together if it is supported by these communities to get us together, to bring more information together to make solutions. There are a lot of us that work with facilities that are doing the spay and neuters, and we put the time in there and we're willing to, but we need some support. We're wanting to help you. This is all one big county. So also in that being said, there are those of us that work with facilities on the west side. Me personally, there are times that I take 30 feral cats in a vehicle to Linwood to get them spayed and neutered and return them. These are ferals. We work with fostering kittens that are coming from them to be socialized, taken to the west side, away from this county, to be homed. And that takes dollars out of, we don't get grants because we're not a 501c3. Yes.
Would you be willing to offer your contact information?
Yes, absolutely. We don't have a web page, but we do have a Facebook page, Above the Bend Animal Assistance. Correct. My phone number is 509-833-8391. So,
38391.
correct. Yeah. So we personally work with, like I said, Prevent Homeless Pets in Benton City, the wonderful with YVPR down here in the Hera Clinic. But also we're going to Linwood, the Feral Cat Spay and Neuter Project. We do work with dogs as well. We are working with Feral Cat Spay and, the Paws in Linwood. You have other facilities. You have Seattle Area Feline Rescue. We go all the way up to Woodland with dogs to get them to these places. So we're able to help facilitate movement, but it would be helpful if we had some holding facilities, so workability to make some functions work for this whole county with support with the municipalities.
Okay. Question.
Yes.
And I've been asked this by community members, and it's sort of like an elephant in the room question. So if it's offensive to anybody, forgive me. It's really not my question. But when people hear things like feral cats and dogs that have no home, is there a process in place for euthanization? Because people often think to themselves, you picked up 50 feral cats and then you got them spayed and neutered, then you delivered them back to the same place. Logically, it sort of doesn't make sense. Could you find them homes? And then if you can't find them homes, is there a process? Because, from like a city manager perspective, you look at the dollars and cents of housing animals, and I love animals, and it breaks my heart to even think to euthanize any. But, the reality that we're all facing is that we don't have facilities. What the facilities that we have, they're stuffed to the gill. We can't afford to feed them. And then ultimately you have this bottleneck of animals in these facilities, and then hence they're out on the streets. Is there a process for it? And I'm just asking that question because I don't know. And a lot of people in the community don't know if there's a process to
I think
humane euthanization,
Right.
if there is such a thing.
There are some aspects of that. If you're working with animals that are so sick and there's no quality of life, that is something. But what you're doing here, bringing this together, you're already going to start minimizing that if the effort continues by, this is a huge farming community. Those animals may not necessarily need to go back to the site they came from, but that's the only choice we have. With getting group efforts together, there's dairies, there's farms. Those animals, they work for their food. There is capability. It just takes the human aspect for organization and communication. So there are those, and I do understand that's a little different from what you're asking.
Right,
I get
right.
that. So that's the answer I can provide for that. But we also too, this could start something that's going to curb that immensely by just this meeting and what it can grow from. There are places, Positive Alliance, they are not a rescue. They help support small groups like us. There are times when we're transporting animals and we're bringing, me personally, sometimes 400 or 500 pounds of food back for this area to disperse to your veterans, your homeless, and people elderly who can't afford it, or unowned animals. But they also are supportive. They are willing at times, if with coordination, to come over and do microchipping events at no cost. They're willing to also, they have been willing, I won't say will, have been willing to make these spay and neuter clinics happen, bring medical support over for these MASH clinics to happen. The capability is there, it's coordination. There is help and funding. In Eastern Washington, because we're drowning, Western is willing to help us. They don't have the problem we have. So, but there is help. So when it comes to the dollars and cents, there are some resources that could be brought together with coordination. And then as far as the legality issues, 4 hours ago, I was just called to an issue out of Cowiche. The dog was found, a German Shepherd. Scanned it. Wonderful. I was so excited. Had a microchip. Called them. The microchip company gave me the individual's number, address, everything. They actually answered the phone. Oh yeah, they were from Zilla. They gave the dog to somebody in Titan. Oh yeah, I don't think they wanted it anymore. There's no repercussions. None. So anyway, thank you for hearing me and thank you for having us.
Yeah, no, thank
Any other questions?
Counselor, Commissioner? No? Okay.
Oh, certainly. Thank you.
There's a lady here that I know has been waiting for quite a while.
I know, I should have taken notes because now I don't remember. Everyone said things.
And this will be on YouTube, just just FYI, now that you're up, just full disclosure, you'll be on YouTube and you are on YouTube currently.
My name's Chelsea. I'm not with any organization. I'm just one of those people that spends thousands of dollars fixing cats and then I can't get them anywhere. I do endorse what Megan said. We need a facility here. It's great. And I totally 100% agree that the dogs are a problem. The dogs need saving. But I wanted to make sure that someone was here to represent the cats as well, because that is an issue. And I have tried working with like those groups. I've utilized them at times. Money's not really the issue, but I've spent like $3,000 since like September on cats, fixing them or dealing with their medical issues. but just like having somewhere for them to go afterwards because they're not all feral. It's just really hard. Like I'll reach out to the Horse Heaven Hills, but they were closed down right at the time I needed them. She was still able to facilitate like free vaccines, but they need fosters. That was what she told me. So, you can't take cats if you don't have fosters. And then finding somewhere for them to go, just, I can't house all those cats. I'm a nurse, and so I don't have the time. I'm willing to donate the money or I can TNR, but it's just like, can't keep them all. And so then at some point I have to stop. I've rescued a lot of cats from my street, from my area, over the years, but it just gets very like hard because I can keep them all. And then I want to, like, there was a guy across the street. I contacted animal control about him. He was basically feeding cats and, I offered actually to help trap them one time and fix them. But they didn't do anything about it. My cat started to go over there. I had one cat that still went outdoors. He would go over there to eat the food and he was hit by a car. And so I definitely wanted him to fix that issue. But people aren't receptive, and I would capture the ones that would come over to us. I dealt with one, apparently they were dealing with some feline leukemia, so I got to see one of the most sad and distressing things ever happened to a kitten that I eventually had to drive in the middle of the night to Pasco to euthanize because she was deaf and blind and seizing, and I just wish that she didn't have to go through that. But when those cats are breeding, they're just inbreeding and they're just gonna like pass along their sickness. And so having a humane society here or a shelter here would be great for us to be able to take the cats that we trap or have some outlet. I would gladly trap all the cats I could if I just had some help with what to do with them afterwards. I'd gladly get them fixed too, but I need them to have a home. I have 2 in my garage right now that I don't have places for. I fixed them, I've medicated them, got them all better, but I don't necessarily need more cats. So I would gladly help with like figuring out a way to make some kind of facility in the lower valley because I know I don't even contact the Humane Society anymore because they were always full. And I didn't know that it was an option to take them to Benton City or Benton County. They used to say that they wouldn't take cats from this area. They had to be caught within the Tri-Cities limits. I've even lied and taken cats to the west side before, saying that I found them there. Kittens. I took a basket full of kittens. I dropped them off. And just to be able to make sure that they got somewhere safe and that they didn't get rejected from being from over here. What else feral cats. Just because your question about like euthanizing them, they're not like vicious, they deserve a life. We have one outside right now. And they come in all levels. If we had that facility, you can trap a cat, see if it's socializable. They're not always permanently feral. They're just scared. They've never seen a person before. But tons of them can be rehabilitated, especially if you capture them soon enough, like when they're young enough.
Mm-hmm.
But we have one. He has no interest. He's in my garage right now, but he'll go back out when it's warmer. But he's been with us for like 2 years now, but he has no interest in being my cat. He'll eat my food. He'll sit at my door all day long. He has a house outside. He ended up getting sick, so we trapped him, and that's why he's in my garage. Because I'm like, well, I might as well just keep him warm for the winter. But he'll still hit me. If I accidentally shock him, he's like, bam, like, he doesn't trust me, but he's not a bad cat. He purrs, he's happy. He doesn't deserve to die just because, somebody was irresponsible.
Yeah, we have a lot of feral cats that are around City Hall. I see them all the time.
And then there's another one.
Yeah, absolutely.
Who's probably related to him. I trapped him. He's absolutely socialized. He loves people. He would love to be somebody's pet. Then I have another one I've been working with for 5 years. I TNR'd her. And then she ended up having, she was pregnant at the time. I intended to just let her have the babies inside and then find them a foster, but she ended up having a pregnancy complication, and I spent $1,200 saving her life. The emergency pet clinic just said to put her down, but I found the Tieton vet that was willing to do an emergency abortion and save her life. But I've worked with her over the time. She lives inside now. She's still a tiny bit scared, but she was a feral cat, fully feral, and now she's, 90% a house cat. So they definitely can be socialized, they can be saved. And so it'd be nice if they could either be TNR'd and returned somewhere where the people, the colonies, like on the west side, they have colonies, they'll feed them, they'll make sure they're safe, it's somewhere that they've accepted that there's going to have this group of cats. So that would be nice if that could happen here too. But a lot of them could probably be made into house cats. And if we could find a place for that to be determined and then for a safe place for them to get adopted out, that doesn't necessarily require driving 180 miles, which I'm so grateful they do that, but it shouldn't have to be that way. Just to save people. And for me as a normal person, as I try to use these rescues, it's still just hard because I was still turned away from at least 3 different ones, trying to help just these 3 cats that I've helped this season. So it's disheartening if you're just one person and you aren't in the fold and you don't have all these people to help you. But it's definitely an issue, and I would love to just have something done about it, and I would love to help with fundraising or whatever we need to do. If we could.
Absolutely. And yeah, before you leave, we'll try to grab your contact information, and anybody else for our public comment period. I know it's been super educational for us, and I know it's gone on for a long time, but I've learned so much. And Dwayne, I already know your name because you have such an effervescent personality. I can't forget you, man. And the name of your group, we won't repeat it out loud again, but
I want to commend you for having this. One thing I meant to mention earlier is if we could get some sort of special committee that had all the municipalities involved, including the county and the smaller cities like Sunnyside and Grandview and all the way Toppin and Swapito, everywhere, so that we can get a special committee going. I know this isn't your day job. I get that. But if we could somehow get that and even reach out to anybody in the public or anybody that's been here, we'd be willing to be your foot soldiers, be part of it, whatever you want from that. Yes, sir.
Yeah, if I could. Yeah, I'll just mention, there was a lady in the audience earlier that mentioned a stakeholder group that Commissioner Curtis has been involved with. So there is a process that's taking place there. But we've also gotten, but we appreciate the fact that people like you have come forward. You've got your contact information in your group. We've learned a little bit more about some resources and options. And from my perspective, I appreciate the opportunity to be here. This is a Sunnyside meeting, so I'm a guest here, but I really, as I've gone around to the cities in the county, I'm hearing Sunnyside talk about it, but I'm also hearing Grandview talk about it. I'm hearing Toppenish talk about it, and we've heard about it from Sela as well. So we know it's a countywide issue, and I know sometimes I know there's dumping that goes on in the county because there are fewer people out there. Let's get when you get right down to it, it's so people aren't there to see you do what you're doing. But it seems to me that, since we all have the problem, it'd be best if we could work together to find a common solution or solutions.
Yeah, because my thing is, I know Sunnyside can't afford to foot the bill, and then Sela, and then Grandview, and then Wapto.
Exactly.
If we could all pool together, all these smaller organizations and communities, we might be able to pool the resources and have it be easier on everybody. And that's really what I was trying to get at, is if we could get, with all these smaller cities working together. I understand the county's got their thing going, but are the cities involved as well in this?
Well, Commissioner Curtis has been the one going to having the stakeholder meeting, so I haven't been involved personally on those, but I've heard this from council members from different cities about the issues that they're grappling with. And so I know that it's and I don't know, maybe the lady here can comment as to whether cities have been involved in those stakeholder meetings.
No, they have not.
Okay.
But,
Okay.
By the way, my name's Kim Reno. I'll just introduce myself since I didn't. I'm on the board for a rescue called Cat Rescue Squad, but I also do a lot of independent rescuing with dogs. I volunteer in clinic in Hera, work with Dwayne and Ellen a lot. And we have, Ellen is now going to join the group that Commissioner Curtis has been heading up. Ellen's going to join the group next meeting, which I believe is next week, as our a few other stakeholders and animal rescue people. I'm not sure that he's included any city members, but I know that we have brought that up at previous meetings, that it needs to be, much like they do in King County, they have like joint animal services of King County. And then they, smaller cities contract with the county.
Mhm.
So we've talked about that at our meetings about something like that. What Wayne was saying. Laws all cities and the county.
Well, and I know, oh, sorry, go ahead.
One of the main things we've been talking about at the meeting is that this is really like a three-pronged solution. One of them is enforce the laws that are already on the books, as people have said. It doesn't need to be new laws. We need to enforce, it's already illegal to breed dogs without a license in Washington. That's just not enforced. But it is a law. So there should be something like, you see somebody selling dogs out of their pickup at Wilco, you should be able to call 911 and have the ACO come out and write them a ticket. It's that easy. There's people all the time that have signs up at their house, puppies and a phone number. Great, go to their house, say, where's your license? You don't have it, where's your ticket? It's not that hard. They're advertised everywhere. And if they would just enforce those laws, animal cruelty laws, and low-cost spay and neuter and vaccines, and a holding facility, that's the three-pronged approach that would solve this problem.
And we have been in conversation with Prosser, working on an ILA to potentially house dogs, but it's very preliminary. It hasn't been executed yet. We do have we don't have a animal control officer right now, but in the past we've had joint partnerships with Grandview. So some of those things, because we had to consolidate our animal control officer into code enforcement. Some of those issues have gotten a little muddled, but point being is we're in conversation with them, but I think that's a great point, because there's no reason that the cities can't start working on this together, because it clearly is a valley issue. And I think the best way is, I can reach out to my predecessor or my cohorts and Prosser, the city managers, and the city managers can coordinate all the counselors. But yeah, I'll start working on that. So I did want to get a little bit to this agenda. I know, Ruby, do you want to say something else?
Say, the city of Richmond, they're already actually putting into practice. They've already passed an ordinance, a city ordinance that says you cannot sell or give away puppies, dogs in a public, even in a private public establishment. They've already, and that was recently passed. So if other cities are, we can definitely do it too. And I believe the city of Edmonds, I'm not sure if it's that one, I believe it is, but they just enforce spay and neuter. So if other cities are doing it, we can do it too.
Good point.
Tri-Cities is a good example of pulling together with Council Richland, our tri-state animal services. Is all those three cities using that one place. So it can be done.
Go ahead.
Good thing about the animal control, if it's an issue as far as funding to get, people involved and become animal control officers. You might ask for volunteers who would want to do it like in the community or in a certain part of the city, just kind of like a neighborhood watch type thing, people in the area, they could become deputized or whatever you want to call it, where they can be a volunteer animal control officer, and then they go out and start enforcing some of these laws. It's a funding issue that you aren't have it.
And we have looked at some of the volunteer issues with community block watch and things like that. And I know for cities, the risk that we have to take on in the liability sometimes when we deputize you to work on our behalf, it gets a little complicated. So I know my preference from a risk standpoint is if we can, if nonprofit groups can train and, support that endeavor and work alongside the city, but not necessarily for the city, that's where any time that we take on that risk, people always, they're suing us right and left all the time because, they believe that we have deep pockets, which we really don't. So that's where it gets a little complicated for us. But I think that's a great idea. We just have to figure out mechanically how we do that and, how we can support that effort. Right, exactly. And that's where I think we can come in and support the communication channels and, rallying the troops. So, from that perspective, but I know because we delved into that a little bit with Block Watch, and it's a sticky wicket for us because, the minute we say you're on the Sunnyside Block Watch, all of a sudden, if somebody gets hurt, people are suing the city of Sunnyside. But I do think we should explore, in tandem or in partnership somehow with that. But let me just touch on some of the topics here, because and thank you everybody for sharing, because I tell you what, I've learned a tremendous amount today, and I really appreciate everybody sharing. And Councilor, Commissioners, any more questions for anybody out there before I kind of buzz right through this?
For me, I don't really have any other questions.
Okay.
We've got a lot of good information tonight, and I've got other information in talking to some of the individuals here previously. So it's been good information, good to get contact information, ideas about resources, and I'll certainly bring these back to Commissioner Curtis as well. But I do really endorse the idea of figuring out how we can work together, because I know it's
absolutely,
because it's a widespread problem throughout the cities and the incorporated areas of the county.
Yeah, and it's disheartening. I didn't realize that we're sort of like number one for this issue, which is not something to be proud of, obviously. And it sounds just sort of like, anecdotally speaking, I've got some notes. I mean, clearly we need to have punitive measures, to hold people accountable. I think that's number one, from our perspective. And, the facility part is complicated, but Ruby, I'm going to let you say one more thing, then I'm gonna just one more, Ruby.
Stado State Haven, they're amazing. They're located in Western Washington.
Can you come up to the mic and share that, Ruby, since it sounded like you had some good information there that people would want to?
Pasado Safe Haven, I've worked with them very closely. They've actually trained law enforcement in the animal cruelty and animal neglect cases. They also have resources. They have resources that frees up the Yakima County commissioners, the courts, on all different levels. If there's an animal cruelty case and the prosecuting attorneys are full, Pasado Safe Haven can provide the legal team to be able to prosecute that. I've worked with them. They're an amazing agency. And they are, a service or an agency that provides services to the county and to the city level. It's Pasado Safe Haven. So if you want to look them up, you can give them a contact. I do know that they've worked really closely with also the Sheriff's Department, the ACO. They're the ones that were helping with the flyers for the rewards for the animals that were brutally killed. They offered cameras to be set up in the different dumping grounds, because that's another topic that we haven't really talked about. But there are, I would say, about 7 or 8 notorious dumping ground sites just in Grandview and Sunnyside alone. I hate driving through there because I'm going to find dogs. I kid you not. But Posados has offered to set up cameras. And it's at no expense to the city, to the county. And these are resources that we can definitely utilize and allow them to help us.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Ruby.
And a couple things, topics I wanted to touch on, and I'm going to kind of skip around here because we've been here almost an hour and a half, and I want to respect everybody's time. In number 4, in identifying key issues, we've got Commander Gusby here. And Commander and Chief has talked about this at the council meetings. Statutorily, we have to go after dangerous dogs. And I know we had an officer that was bit not too long ago, maybe a month ago. Can you talk about a little bit how you guys go about that? And my understanding is we have a 4 dog allowance at the Humane Society per month. And then, how are your officers trained? I know they've got the big poles in their cars. So just kind of give a quick synopsis of, how you guys handle that and to the best of your ability.
Right. So if we get called to a dangerous dog that's actually attacking, either animals or a person, that we're required to respond to those. And our goal is to catch the dog if possible. Catch the dog. We are trained using the dog leashes, or they're not called leashes, they're called catch poles. So we're training using those. When the old ACO was here, she kind of walked us all through on how to use it and the proper way of using it. So our goal is to catch the dog. And then the Humane Society will take dangerous dogs. And dangerous dogs are dogs that are seriously injured. Those are the only dogs that they're willing to take from us at this moment. And so we keep the dogs in our facility because they have to be kept in a place for so long to make sure they don't have any kind of disease that would, if they actually bit somebody, right? So we do that. So we transport them up if we have to. I think we just transported a dog up 2 weeks ago to Yakima Humane Society due to the fact that they bit somebody. So, and then we do cite the owners for, depending on where the dog was at, if the dog was at large for dangerous dog at large. So they are getting cited that way. So.
Okay, sounds good. Any questions for the commander, in terms of the way we're dealing with it from a police perspective? So I know we're doing the best we can in that regard. I want to jump up to bullet point number 2, current state of animal control in Sunnyside. Let Derek Broughton talk about this a little bit. Due to our budget constraints, we did consolidate the position of animal control into our code enforcement. So Derek, can you talk a little bit about the timeline for training and sort of the modus operandum in the future?
Yeah. As I meant, every time I get up here, I start losing my voice. As I mentioned earlier, code enforcement and animal control, those are under my, I'm in charge of that, I guess you could say. And so we lost our animal control officer in November last year. We weren't necessarily prepared for that in that we didn't have people training under her to, a succession plan. There was no succession plan at the time. So with the budget and things like that, we knew that it was important to maintain the animal control officer position. But we don't, they quit. So what happened is we've consolidated that, and our code enforcement officers, who are well known in the community, they are taking over animal control. Unfortunately, the training program that doesn't start until March. So we are planning to send them for that training. In the interim, as Captain Commander mentioned, we have the statutory obligation regarding dangerous animals. But when it comes to the strays, we just don't have the resources and we don't have the facilities to keep them in at this time. That's why when I introduced myself, I said, I'm going to need your help. And that's what I'm here to do, is try to get this resolved and work towards that. So one thing that I'm looking at and working with our code enforcement officers regarding is setting up a volunteer network. I heard a couple people mention things like that. And this is something that I'm saying within near term, within the next 2 to 3 months, I would hope to have this up. And it would be a point of contact, when strays are found or my officers are out there addressing the animals. If they're not deemed to be dangerous, take a picture, post it. These types of things, getting a network set up because the dangerous dogs, frankly, we don't, and I'm hopefully speaking, we don't want the public messing with the dangerous dogs. They're dangerous. However, the non-dangerous dogs, the strays and things like that, that's more viable or feasible for the public to be assisting with. So what I'm looking and working on trying to get set up is, and that's why I so appreciate y'all, because I didn't know half of y'all were out here. I'm going through a Google search. It's limited what it comes up with as far as groups and facilities. Of course, I may put the wrong words in, but I appreciate you here, and I'm hoping to get each of you that came up to speak. I would like you to get my card, and I really want to, I mean, imminently start holding meetings to start working on a local thing. At the same time, we're working on looking at a more long-term solution, and that'll be in coordination with whoever we can work with to get it done. There's some possibilities of facilities potential, but again, money and time. You know, the building of the facility is frankly the easy part. It's the operation and maintenance of that facility going forward and the ability to maintain the standards that we need to for the animals. That's where the rubber really hits the road. And that'll take coordination. Now, what I'm hearing here is I've got a room full of people that are willing to help. And I'm hoping that when I make that call, that you guys will be there. And like I said, I want to get you guys my card so you have my direct number and you can contact me, and I'll start getting things together to start actually getting a group to start actually dealing what we can locally. Because what you guys know is what we've got here. You have the resources, you have the awareness. I don't. I know how to help get all this stuff put together though. So that's what I'm asking for you, and I really appreciate you all coming out.
Thanks, Derek. And I saw the young ladies come in, and I saw a picture. I didn't know if you wanted to share something with us, or you just happen to be holding a picture. Okay, but I just wanted to make sure.
That is great. Everything that you says, it's like great on this building that you have in your city that can be donated, be used, would be awesome. I'm sure, like, I know even in Tri-Cities, if you're doing it, swap this off. You can even do the team channel. There's ways of going about this cost. I think you're headed in the right direction. You're headed in the right direction.
Awesome. Well, I'm scanning our agenda, and I mean, we hit a lot of items. So, and you know, I wasted a lot of time making this agenda, but because we've
But that's a good forum.
yeah, right. But we hit a lot of key points. So, I wanted to wrap a bow on this. It's kind of I feel like we're at number 7, kind of the next steps, and Derek kind of alluded to that. So I feel like we kind of need, well, obviously this is the great first step, and we need to continue the ball rolling. You know, I wrote a couple notes. Obviously, we need a committee. Obviously, we need to get the other cities involved. And I mean, ultimately, we need to keep the conversation going as to, you know, how do we take these conversation pieces and make them actionable, and what are the most attainable steps first. So I think I didn't create a sign-up sheet today. But if people are willing to stick around and give me your email address and just write that before you leave, and then I'll make a listserv of this group, and of course we'll keep it going on our Facebook page, and we'll keep the conversation going in the media as well. But I would, you know, we're already late February, but I think we have another meeting in March to kind of keep the momentum going. And you know, I think monthly this group has to meet and just kind of figure it out. Counselors, commissioners, any thoughts, you know, on next steps?
Well,
whoever wants to go.
I'll just say quickly, one thought I did have was just since on the county level, since we've got a stakeholder group already participating, it seems like it'd be nice. I'll mention this to Commissioner Curtis. I think it'd be nice to actually plug in the cities into that. Frankly.
Absolutely.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, I think that's a good next step. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, I really appreciate every single one of you for coming. And every organization, every person who spoke, I wrote down every name, the name of every organization. And, you know, Chelsea actually said something very, very important. And she said, I've been doing this all alone as a resident, right, as a community member, and I've been doing everything, and I've been paying out of pocket, and had no idea of all of the resources and help that actually is available. And that's something that's very important to even know, and for community and residents to also use that help because we all need to help each other. And I know there's a lot of residents as well who are willing to put in the work, who are willing to donate money, who are willing to help even with a phone call or take food. And so that's something where we do need to come all together. Like you guys say, it's a group effort. And I just want to thank every single organization. And on the conversation of what can we do in action plan and the next steps, definitely just maybe we could do what we can do as a city is even shout out each organization who showed up today and just say, hey, thank you for showing up today. This is the organization. This is what they do. Even if they don't have a nonprofit organization, these are leaders who have stepped up and have been willing to take upon this challenge. And we really are thankful for you guys even taking the time out of your day and evening to show up here. It says a lot about every single one of you. So just thank you. And we definitely just need to come together and bring more awareness and help share your guys' organizations and everything that you guys all do.
Well said. Anybody else?
Well, I see Chelsea's hand up. I don't know if we could let her talk really quick.
Absolutely.
Maybe just in the meantime, you talk about a Facebook group like where all of the rescues were able to like make themselves known, but if you could just maybe make a page on the city of Sunnyside, like real quick, and just have like a list of the rescues that maybe wanted to be included and with like a contact info for just like it doesn't have Facebook or just a quick reference for the city.
We can definitely do that. And that's what, because that's what I asked that question if there was like one conglomerate page. I think that'd be great to have a link on our website or something we could create that has pet rescues and just go ahead.
Only thing, I'm thinking for our person, but maybe for a lot of us in this room, I know we would be thrilled and happy to get you into our parks, but what we follow with all of that is you have our willingness that we don't have resources. I mean, we're lacking resources. Yeah. You know, our personal pockets, you know, if we have a 501c or not. So just keeping that in mind if you can put something in, you know, because we are so desperate that we're scratching pennies together. Right. Out of our own pockets. So just keeping that in mind that we want to be there, we want to do, but our resources are so low.
Can I just add too? I mean,
sure.
As easy as it sounds, unfortunately, because literally I will have a dog that I need to place somewhere and I can call 20 rescues around the state. I'll keep a list of them and everybody's a no. So we have all these, I'm just one person and all these community members are calling in. I mean, it sounds great, but you know.
Need more volunteers, more rescues. Yeah.
That's
yeah. If there's a link, maybe put on there if you rescue need fosters and your doctor.
Yeah.
To donate, you know, or anything, you know, that's what makes help. But I'll put our name or Facebook page or link something to link them to us.
Stop reproducing animals.
Yeah. Get your good. Sure.
Something that's really important is that all of these resources, they're great, but like your pockets are draining, there's limited volunteers. I think at a community level, we really need to educate the people here in the city limits.
Yes.
About what laws, what ordinances, what RPWs there are.
Oh.
And I think we also need to make sure that we have material available that's fast. Yeah. We have a community who's primarily Spanish speaking, and I feel like a lot of like to say, we service a community, Hispanic community, 90%, 95%, whatever it is.
Yeah.
But there's not always resources that they're gonna understand.
Yeah.
They get a brochure, they get a resource, it's cute pictures, there's a dog, it tells you how quick a cat can breed, how fast 2 cats turn into like 500, but it's not in Spanish. It's never in Spanish. And my grandma, she's gonna scroll through on Facebook and she won't be able to click the link, but she'll see something on TV that's on the news, on the 11 o'clock news. Or the Daily Sun News, she still gets the weekly newspaper on Wednesdays. So I feel like we really need to target the audiences, not just who can click a link on Facebook, like in our city, people who are not always on Facebook, people who are feeding their cat, you know, the grandma's feeding the cats outside. I think it's really important for me to reach out to that community here in Sunnyside, not
out and sending them outwards, being focused on what's in here.
Yeah, no, that's good. Actually, do you want to say something, Counselor Ripley?
I just want to say I appreciate y'all being here and I want to go somewhere with this. I'm a short talker.
Yes. No, that is amazing. Can I get your name? You just mentioned something in the audio. Yeah. Well, what's your name? Can I catch your name?
Mercedes,
Mercedes. Thank you so much for saying that. Oh, great. Thank you. And I think that's amazing. Actually, we didn't have interpreting services, and that's something that actually I had asked the city clerk about. So maybe that's something to better prep us for the next round, having interpreting services in the room, City Manager Gonzalez. And so there's like so many buckets to this, right? There's the rescue part, having facilities to be able to hold the pets. Since the beginning, to your point, and after speaking to Pablo, who was the code enforcer, who actually Ruby Medina connected me to, I asked him, what is going to help us curb this, right? And he said accountability. He said people around the community are not being held accountable. There are no repercussions to their actions, and we need to get tougher. And I hate the word punitive. I really do. But we have to start looking at our RCWs. We have to start looking at our SMCs that we have here in for Sunnyside, our city laws, and we have to get harsher and harder on enforcement. We have our code enforcement and code enforcers here in the audience, and we have Derek here. So we really do have to tighten up in that sense. I think our community for so long we haven't been holding people responsible or accountable. So when we're not doing that, it is either a slap in the wrist or there's no slap at all. I saw a quote not too long ago that said, that asked the question, what is the world's most dangerous species? And you know what the answer was? It's humans. It's humans. It's humans because of the neglect and the lack of responsibility that we see over and over again. And then we see the repercussions of it, and it's animal abuse. It is animals roaming our streets. It is them getting hit. It is them being found emaciated. I see the shirts with the pups, them being dumped and then found underground somewhere just here on Independence Road. And so what we can do and what I commit to doing, and I'm sure Councillor Ripley and Councillor Vasquez agreed to this, and actually Deputy Mayor Galvan isn't here, but outlawing the breeding. I will commit to pushing that forward within council, looking at our SMCs and making sure that if we're able to go in there and amend anything or add anything or develop any ordinance that's going to make sense for our community, we will commit to doing that. Because if it's something that we can do more imminently and more immediately is looking at our policies, that is our job, and then enforcing it. I don't know, we can think of having, it's going to start getting nicer. We can start thinking of having like a registration, register your dogs at the park and you get $5 off. We can do something like that. Like we can have a whole campaign around this. We just have to get creative. And I think on behalf of council, we can definitely commit to doing a lot of that heavy lifting here in our community. I am an animal lover. I have 2 dogs of my own, and I am tired of seeing all of this. I get messages from Ruby Medina, and I know she's tired. I know all of y'all are tired, but I will go back to the words of the former ACO from Prosser. We can curb this. This problem has a solution. We just need to start getting behind it and being more intentional. And I know, Sarah, that your daughter actually created that portrait. I would love to see it if she would come up to the podium. Would you be comfortable with doing that?
No.
Sarah, would you do that for her? And this is actually in honor, and you see these blue shirts in the crowd. This is actually in honor, and I know it's emotional. We'd love you to hold it up to the podium and so I know we're on YouTube here and the community can see the reality of what happens and what our pets go through and what our community goes through.
Thanks.
So thank you for all y'all do.
Those are the three lost in the pipes.
Yeah.
And we want to get us next.
Well, yeah, well,
Yeah.
thank you for that.
Thank you so much.
Get in there, girl.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you guys. What a beautiful
For the-
gift. And as we wrap this up, I wanted to thank all the counselors and Commissioner Lindy. Thank you so much for being here, for adding to this forum. Thank you guys. Really appreciate everybody. We appreciate your passion, and we will have a meeting sometime next month. Let us gather what we've learned here today, and again, this is on YouTube, so please share this around the community and let people know that they can watch this, because I think there was some really incredible information that I learned tonight, and thank you for reaching out to me, and we'll definitely continue this conversation. So my promise to you is I will reach out to my colleagues and the other cities in the Valley and figure out how we make this a broader conversation. I'll reach out to Commissioner Curtis as well, because I'm working with him on some other things as well. So it's definitely going to be a team effort. Thank you, everybody. Make sure that you sign that sign up list. That it's a little ad hoc. I just sort of, forgive me for my art. I just wrote it right now, but that's on me. I forgot to bring a sign up sheet. So please sign that so I can have a listserv, so I can get a hold of you guys and I can keep you in the conversation, and we'll try to get a recurring meeting on the calendar so we can continue the conversation. So thank you guys. Appreciate it and hope to see you again.
Yeah, thanks, everyone.
Thanks, man. Appreciate you. You know, when you come to a Mike Gonzalez party, everybody's, you know. That's why I want to sit down there, because I knew that was going to happen. I know. All the counselors came in, like, I got to come. I'm like, get up in the hot seat, you know. But it was and it sounds like because one of the initiatives laws and what's your perspective?
There's laws, but there's things that we can do, like for vaccine.
It's good to be here.
And they also have it where we have more.
That's the other one.
Right.